A dangerous delivery. Michelle the marmoset undergoes an emergency caesarean, but will her tiny baby monkey make it? Animal Park tonight at 6. Now on BBC Two, it's Race Country.
Up on Race Country, Lambourne cheers loudest for local horse Fondmort in the biggest race of them all. Go on, Bonnie. Mary Meek's headaches ease as she discovers a cure for her mare's PMT. And quiche for much needed cash at the Riding for the Disabled fundraiser.
Oh, dear me. Need to get the calculator out on this one, I think.
Now, most country villages have a pub or three. They have a village shop, they've got a post office. Lambourne's got all of that, but it's also got 3 veterinary practices, it's got a saddler's, and it's got a shoe shop with a difference. Size 6, madam? This is the largest farriers anywhere in Europe. I'll be back here shortly.
But first, we've been following Charlie Vigors of Kingwood Stud as he makes last-minute preparations for one of the most important dates in the horse breeder's diary, the Tattersalls annual Breeze Up sales. The event starts in Newmarket today, and Charlie is hoping to persuade the owners, trainers and bloodstock agents who've come from all over the world that his 4 young horses are future champions.
6 in the morning here in Newmarket, and we're just getting the horses ready to go out and have their morning exercise.
Charlie is here to sell 3 horses on behalf of clients, and he's also brought along the Mr. Bailey's colt, owned by Kingwood Stud itself. Before the sale, potential buyers get to see the youngsters gallop over half a mile at the nearby racecourse. This is known as the Breeze Up, and it's often the difference between success and failure.
It is their one chance, it is their moment of glory, and it is their destiny. It is what months and months of hard work have been leading up to, and you have literally got a 1-minute slot in which to strut your stuff as such and show your horses off to the best of their abilities.
If his horses misbehave at the Breeze Up, it could spell disaster in the auction house. Charlie and Kingwood's reputation is at stake.
I'll give you a call in a sec.
For Charlie, the next 2 hours are critical.
Come on, good girl, come on. There's a good girl. You know, obviously you're a bit apprehensive and nervous. If you weren't, you shouldn't be in the job. Come on, straight up. There's a good puppet. We're heading up now to the race course, so the next hour is going to be pretty fraught and tense.
Although Charlie has done as much as he can to prepare the young horses, they've never seen anything like a proper racecourse with crowds of people looking on. There's no knowing how they will react when confronted by such an alien environment. And if these 2-year-olds don't sell at auction, the owners face the prospect of training and racing the horses themselves, a costly and often unwelcome commitment.
Good luck, see you in a sec. Yep. Good luck, Amy. Go for it, jockey. It's getting out of our hands.
Charlie knows the competition is tough, so any misbehaving will be costly.
Obviously, it's always a bit of a nerve-wracking time. We're looking to see them moving well, going through their paces and putting up a good display for potential purchasers. So this is the Giant's Causeway now, just setting off.
73 from Kingwood Stud, the property of Houndscote.
It's just a little bit green, having a little bit of a look around her.
The better the horses breeze, the more money they're likely to make at auction, and that means a more healthy commission for Kingwood.
To follow 73 is 74. Lomidas, the sire of Italian Oaks, winning Meridiana, and groups.
The 2 horses are just having a little bit of a look at the crowd, which they've never seen a crowd like that before, but they both moved well and would be happy with how they went.
With 73 and 74 safely through their Breeze Up, Charlie can breathe more easily and watch some of the rivals. In doing so, he gets an unwelcome reminder of just how badly things can go wrong.
This brother to 10 winners of 48 races, yes.
No, that's your worst case scenario. God forbid it happens.
Just take a minute just to resume here, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, obviously they're immature. 2-year-olds. They're probably away galloping away from home for the first time, some of them, and it's all, the occasion obviously got to that horse a little bit and was spooked, and that's certainly what we don't want to see happening. But that's, again, you know, I'm sure that horse was prepared very well at home and everything went smoothly, and something can go wrong on the day.
It's almost time for the Mr. Bailey's colt to breeze. Kingwood bought him for £18,000 over a year ago. Whether they make a healthy return or a disappointing loss all depends on the next 60 seconds.
163, consigned by Kingwood Stud. The property of Kingwood Bloodstock is the sole offering by Mr. Bailey's, winner of the 2,000 guineas.
Just going out to the 2 furlong marker now and just start to pick it up.
Brother here to a 6-time winner and 17-time placed, Miss Gardner, from 2 to 5 years.
He's gone very nicely. That was very impressive visually, and he's done exactly as I hoped he would do. Always thought he was a nice horse and he breathed well, and luckily he's come up there straight as an arrow and done his job very well. He's gone, I don't know what time he's done, but it looked impressive to the eye, which is the most important thing.
The Breeze Up couldn't have gone better, but Charlie won't know whether the Mr. Bailey's colt has done enough to interest buyers until the auction. Find out tomorrow if the buyers have taken the bait. Lambourne isn't just about expensive racehorses and top jockeys. There's a real cross-section of horses doing plenty of jobs outside of racing. This morning, a group of children with severe learning difficulties from Newbury are getting ready for their weekly ride.
Like that, and like that, then you won't trip over it. OK, off you go. Pony won't do anything. Jackie will hold it.
Pauline Spence has been running a local Riding for the Disabled group for the past 12 years.
A lot of children arrive very nervous even of a small dog, and they're suddenly confronted with this big thing, which after 2 or 3 weeks, it's amazing how they begin to relax and enjoy grooming, handling them, and generally being around them. Children seem to appreciate being able to sit above all the adults that are helping them, particularly if they spend their life in a wheelchair.
Pauline runs the school on land behind her house and is totally reliant on voluntary donations and the help of a team of local volunteers.
Right, what we were doing with the other group was practicing our steering, and stopping, and figures of 8. Can you all remember how to do a figure of 8?
Hiya, how's everybody? My gosh, what a haircut!
This opportunity is a great confidence booster for these children, and because it involves all of the senses, it's vital to pupils that may not achieve in a classroom environment. They certainly enjoy it.
My favourite horse is the Mustang. They're brilliant creatures. It was the best part of my week.
Okay. There you are. Well done.
The RDA in Lambourne needs to attract between £11,000 and £14,000 of donations each year just to stay open. One time-honoured money spinner is the annual fete. Pauline is getting stuck into the preparations.
12 quiches to fill here. So we need 24 eggs. A lot of eggs to crack. The money we raise will go towards general running of the group, principally keeping the ponies fed, shod, saddle rebuilds, which with 5 horses takes in an awful lot of money. Right, that's the 24. We need to see how much milk we need to... oh dear me. I need to get the calculator out on this one, I think. 24/8. That's 192 fluid ounces. The quiches will come out all right if I keep my fingers crossed.
Will Pauline's culinary efforts be enough to help raise the £2,000 she's looking for, or will she end up with egg on her face?
staying in racing. No hoof, no horse, so the farrier is absolutely crucial. Pete's hard at work here already. What have we got here, Pete?
Okay, we're plating this horse. She's due to run shortly this week or sometime this week. So we've taken her training shoes off, which are made of steel, and we're replacing them with them aluminium racing plates, which are a lot lighter.
And just feel.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's ounces.
It's nothing, is it?
So these are her running shoes?
These are her running shoes, yeah.
Peter Ainley works for Chapel Forge Farriers. As well as shoeing horses, farriers are responsible for the overall health of the hooves.
The hoof is effectively a box, which is, it's around about 3/8 of an inch thick, the bottom and the sides. And within that box, you've got bones, nerves, blood vessels, ligaments, tendons. You know, we've got everything going on in there, and this protects those internal sensitive structures. And we put shoes on horses just to give them some additional protection because, of course, in the wild, they're not used to being ridden on asphalt roads.
So you've got the right size, as it were, the right size shoe?
That's right, yeah. I just have to shape the shoe to fit her personally. And I do that using this little baby here. Just making minor alterations. Right, I'm happy with that now. So we're going to nail on now. It will feel that it doesn't hurt it. Excellent.
You're putting those nails in at the sight angle, so they're coming out the side of the wall?
That's right, yeah. I'm actually aiming them to come out the side of the wall where I want them to come out. Now, it's obviously quite a tricky job, because if I get this wrong, I could cause pain and discomfort to the filly, which wouldn't be fair on her, and it could also prevent the horse racing. Now we're left with these exposed nails, and obviously they can't stay like that because they're sharp. So we file them down to a nice, short, manageable length, nice and smooth and safe. And I run my hands around it, make sure there's no sharp edges, there's nothing that she can catch herself on, nothing that she can catch another horse with in a race, because obviously we have to consider other horses which may be running close to her, and nothing for her to stand on and pull the plate off, and that's a nice, finished, smooth job. Here we are, okay, that's her ready to go. I look forward to seeing her race in the next couple of days.
Peter has invited me back to his headquarters, and I have to say the setting is a little unusual.
Do you work in a graveyard?
Well, we work in a converted chapel, actually, yeah. Yeah, it was converted from to become a forge I think about 20 odd years ago. We're the only farriers that go to church every single day.
Pray that business remains
Pray
good.
that business remains good.
Inside, apprentice Joel Roberts is preparing to hot shoe a horse.
Now, when he's taking that shoe out of the furnace, it's orange, it's so
That's right,
hot.
yeah, very hot, yeah, yeah. When a piece of steel is heated up, it becomes elastic, and it obviously becomes very pliable and very soft, which enables us to shape that shoe to the shape of the horse's foot.
This Welsh cob needs a harder wearing shoe than the racehorse Peter shod. For a start, he's much heavier, and as a pleasure horse, he'll be doing a lot of walking and trotting on the roads.
And he's trying it for size now. Look at that smoke come off.
That's right. Well, it's actually steam. A horse's hoof is approximately 25% moisture. So what appears to be smoke is actually steam.
And does the horse feel it at all? He doesn't seem bothered.
He doesn't. Again, he will feel it, but not uncomfortable. A horse's hoof is a very poor conductor of heat. That's why he can walk around in a snowy field without getting cold feet, or an Arab living in the desert in Arabia can walk around on very hot sand without burning his feet. Although if he were to hold that hot shoe on the foot long enough, eventually the heat would find its way through to his nerves and he would feel it.
The hoof mark on the shoe makes it easier for Joel to shape it into the perfect fit. Watching Joel, you realise what a skilled and demanding trade it is, and it's not without its hazards either.
On a day-to-day basis, you get your bumps and your bruises, your superficial cuts, burns from the fire, but long-term, quite a few arthritic-type problems, with the joints of the wrist and the elbow from the concussion of the hammer on the anvil, and the obvious bad back from working in that position all day.
Now, Joel's finished off.
He's finished off, yeah.
Do you want to inspect the finished
Well, I'm going to have
product?
a look, yeah. I'm just assessing the sort of job he's done, how it looks, how it looks are very important. Well, I think he's done a very good job here. Yeah, I'm pleased with that, Joel.
It looks as though Joel is well on his way to becoming a qualified farrier, and our Welsh cob certainly seems pleased with his new shoes. Down in the village, tension is mounting. It's one of the biggest dates in the racing calendar, Grand National Day.
All right.
After much deliberation, local trainer Nicky Henderson has decided to enter Fondmort from his stable into the big race.
It's always a very difficult decision. It's not as if it's just a decision between one race and another. This is a unique race.
At the Wheelwright Arms, Nicky's work rider, Mark Lane, is checking the form for the big race.
Yeah. The woman in the race, what's she ride? Forrest Gunner.
Yeah.
The horse is actually brilliant. If that actually had someone like Paul Carberry on it, you guarantee that'd be 4 to 1.
Yeah.
4 to 1. It's everyone is not going for that because of the women riders. It's not good.
Why not?
Naturally, Mark feels some loyalty to his yard's own horse. And luckily for him, Fondmort is being ridden by a man, Mick Fitzgerald.
He's actually the class horse of the race. And they always say about it. We've never won the National. We've won every big race going, apart from the Gold Cup and the National. You know, to win the National would be an absolute awesome for us. You know, I've been with Nicky for 15 years now, and it's one I think he'd always like to win. We tried very hard, but it just never seems to come off. If he's going to run.
Although Mark and his mates are going to support their local horse, at 50 to 1, they're in a minority. Fondmort has an outside chance at best.
I don't think Fondmort's going to get the trip today. I think if the ground had been a bit faster, then I think he'd have enjoyed it, but a little bit of rain-soaked ground, I don't think he'd quite stay 4.5 miles, which usually means it'll go and win.
I think with Fondmort, at the end of the day, you've got to have 5 each way on, just because of his price, you know. I've already backed him before the race at like 50 to 1, and yes, he's worth a little bet.
You don't have to go far to place a bet in Lambourn, and Mark heads over the road to have a punt.
Personally, I think I've got to go Forrest Gunner, even with a woman jockey on it. I've got to go that way. You know, I think the horse jumps well. He's run over them fences before. He's a very good jumper, but the woman puts me off of it riding it.
The race is fast approaching and the pub is filling up.
Number 4 is Fondmort, 2.5 mile specialist, trained by Nicky Henderson and Mick Fitzgerald in the saddle. Now the starters calling them forward.
They're underway and Fondmort gets off to a great start.
Come on, Fitzy.
Fondmort's not far off the pace for most of the race.
Go on, Fonny. He's good up there. He's about 10.
Further back is Hand Hawk from Fondmort, and Heroes comes next from Europa. Marcus Taberle is next from the inside.
Go on, Fitzy.
The second favourite, Clan Royal, has steering problems and comes a cropper, although the local hero steers clear of any trouble. But it all starts to go wrong. At the 28th fence, Fondmort runs out of steam and is pulled up.
Stamina's not staying. His stamina's gone already. Stamina's gone.
Up towards the second last, Hedgehunter for Ruby Walsh.
Fondmort may be out, but as Hedgehunter hits the front, Mark suddenly gets excited again.
Hedgehunter, he's going to win it! It's got to be Hedgehunter. It's got to be it. He says that he cruises.
Could it be that he's also had a bet on the 7 to 1 favourite? Hedgehunter cruises to victory. And despite Mark's prejudice, the female jockey Carrie Ford on Forrest Gunner finishes a respectable 5th.
It's a little bit of money.
Victory may have eluded Nicky Henderson for yet another year, but Mark is quids in.
£21.50. It won't break the bank, but it's better than nothing.
And it's definitely enough for another round of drinks. Up at Castle Peace, single mum and aspiring trainer Mary Meek is desperate for her horses to compete. As an unknown trainer living in a caravan beside the barn, success at the races is key to a brighter future. But so far, this season has been a disaster.
Molly, will you be quiet? What's wrong with you?
It's very, very frustrating for me as a trainer because I don't seem to be able to get a start. I just seem to be hitting problems all the time, and it's just so frustrating.
Mary has high hopes for her 4-year-old filly Balak, but so far her performance on the racecourse has been disappointing. Mary thinks her problems could all be down to the time of the month.
We've been having quite a lot of training problems with her. She's been doing what's called tying up. Also, she's been having a bad case of PMT, if you like, for want of a better word. And when she comes into season, things just sort of start happening to her. She starts getting really jarred, she starts getting really low.
Mary has called in local vet Richard Gillett to see if he can help cure Balak's PMT.
Right, how are we doing?
Well, not great. I'm having all sorts of problems with her.
Okay.
The leg has come up again.
Come again.
She's coming off the gallops and she's sort of dipping the head. Her chin's almost on the ground. She's just not happy at all.
Not happy again.
And just at this time of the month, when she's about a week before she comes into season, we're just having all sorts of problems.
And it's usually always tying in with that as she's coming into season.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid it must be a hormones girl, isn't it? So let's have a quick look at this.
Richard has a procedure in mind that could help Balak without the need for drugs. She will, however, need to be sedated.
Have we got a bucket of clean warm water? Bucket or bowl? Clean water. Right, I'll get my stuff and we'll have a go. We're going to try this technique of actually putting a marble inside a uterus, really just to convince Balak's body that she's in foal, mimic a very early embryo in pregnancy. So it's a fairly safe procedure, and it's not very expensive, and she'll hopefully think she's in season. Doesn't work with every mare, but works with quite a few. But at least if she stops coming in season, give Mary a chance to train her and go from there.
Racing is very much a science these days, and you have to be prepared to go with the new ideas. And luckily for me, I've got a young, forward-thinking vet who encourages me to try new ideas.
So this is the marble we use. It's got to be a certain size. It's 35 millimetres. This actually comes from Hamley's toy store in London because it's the only place we can find that does them big enough. So we had to order it from Hamley's, but we didn't tell them what we were going to use it for.
She's going, she's going. She's just getting a bit wobbly on her feet, just beginning to drop off here to sleep.
In the interests of hygiene, Richard needs to wear sterile gloves.
Yeah. If you don't, the sandwiches always taste a bit funny at lunchtime. So we've got it nice and lubricated. Good girlie, good girl. So she should be nice and relaxed. Good girl, here's a girl. Good girlie. Good girl, there's a girl, I know, good girl. And basically I've just got to slowly sort of massage it through the cervix into the uterus. Just slowly sort of getting it through if we can. It's gone in, so it was not too bad at all, fairly easy. She's obviously still just open enough to let it in, but she's beginning to close down, so hopefully about the right time.
I'll be able to tell everybody that the horse has got a marble inside it from Hamley's toy store, no less.
You need to wake up, aren't you, girl, hey?
With the marbles successfully in place, Richard is hoping that Balak's PMT will be a thing of the past. I think Balak is hoping so too.
If the marble works, then hopefully once we stop the coming season, she'll have a good chance of, being trained and Mary getting her fit and racing again. If it doesn't work, obviously because we can't use drugs in racing, she may have to consider possibly doing something other than racing, where she could be put on some sort of hormonal drug, just like the pill in women, really, to stop them coming in season, and that hopefully should be a bit more manageable.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased that we've got that done now, and here's hoping that it'll work.
Earlier we saw Pauline Spence hard at work in the kitchen, preparing for the annual fete in aid of riding for the disabled.
We can find another.
All morning, stallholders have been getting ready for the expected crowds.
Melanie, do you want that table right through so it's lined up on this side? Then the glasses can always go under it, can't it?
Pauline is hoping to raise £2,000 to pay for the upkeep of the school. But so far, the crowds have failed to materialise.
Good old stalwarts have arrived so far, so we'll see who follows after that. Hiya.
The stallholders are donating a percentage of their takings to the group. Jenny at the plant stand has found a novel way of boosting her takings.
I've sold a few. I think I bought more myself at the moment. I've spent £20 with the lady over there and probably about the same on my own stall.
A bit disappointed that things are so quiet so far, but hopefully when lunchtime arrives, the people will start to arrive and have their lunch as well as doing their shopping. Also, when the yards finish at the end of the morning, quite a few come up from the local stables, so perhaps the crowd will increase then.
But by lunchtime, not even Pauline's quiches have managed to pull in the punters. She turns her attention to the marketing.
Do you think that's self-explanatory now? Just push the teas and coffees.
But with the coffer still dry, she turns to the stallholders to swell the takings.
Hi ladies, would anybody like any raffle tickets? £1 a strip. There you are. Great, thanks. Would you like any raffle tickets? Thank you very much. That's lovely, thanks. Would you like any raffle tickets? They're £1 a strip.
By the time she's collected the money, a few people have drifted into the barn, and finally things are looking up for Pauline.
Always come for a cake. I've got a chocolate fudge cake here, just £3.
Where's the money?
And Pauline's quiches are going like hot quiches. That extra advertising did the trick.
Seems to be going down very well. We're getting some out to all the stall holders so they can have lunch while they're working. So hopefully we'll have a lot more people coming in and enjoying it, but leave us some at the very end of it all. Blue 555. It'll be a stall holder or a helper.
The fete hasn't pulled in quite the numbers of people Pauline was expecting, but has it pulled in the money?
We made £1,114. Disappointed. I hoped to make about 2,000, but we had to buy a trailer last week, so it'll cover that. Everybody's thoroughly enjoyed themselves and want us to do it again, which is the main thing. So hopefully we'll see them again in a year's time.
On Race Country tomorrow, we meet two of the Valley's most famous names, former jockey and Five Live tipster Luke Harvey, and the trainer of Cheltenham Gold Cup hero Best Mate, Henrietta Knight.